Picture this. You're not just fixing cars, you're living your passion every day. At Cox, you'll work on a diverse range of automobiles. Surrounded by a team of friendly, like-minded individuals, you'll enjoy great pay and benefits. Ready to make this a reality? At Cox, we're recruiting auto and diesel techs to join our Mannheim and Fleet Services teams. Learn, grow, and fine-tune your career as a technician at Cox. Find out more at cox.careers/autotech.
Welcome to Tunnel Talk, a No Facts, All Feelings wrestling podcast on the Social Suplex Network. I'm Allie.
I'm Ann.
And I'm Leah.
How are my beautiful, beloved girls doing this week?
Melting. Straight
She's
up melting.
She hot.
I love it. I love being hot. My body adjusted. I'm fine now.
We've got Heat Miser and Cold Miser over here singing their little songs.
I was not made for the heat. I just every part of my body is like, what is happening? You're made for snow.
I agree. I'm a cold girl. I finally went to the trouble. I brought my air conditioner up, but I have it's not a window unit. It's a portable AC. So, which is good because then it immediately got cold again because it's raining every other day here. So, it's just up here. It was not easy to get up here. It didn't add joy to my week to get it up here. And in fact, nothing has added joy to my week.
Yeah, how are you doing, Allie?
Except this podcast, which is about to make me so happy.
That's right.
It's about to really fix me. Oh yeah, we learned how to control reactions finally. So now we can make confetti rain down. We can make balloons rain up. We can make sad rain for my mood come down. Yes,
yeah,
angry.
Wow. Perfect.
So anyway, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Let's get through a little in-house podcast business, and then we'll talk about other things. This is your final notice before our appearance on Martin from Poison Rana Pod's live stream on June 29th. Again, this stream is raising money for the Maddie Cusack Foundation, which supports female football/soccer players, as we would say here in America. And the stream itself will run from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be in there for a half-hour block from 2 to 2:30 p.m. We'll be playing the dating game. We can't wait to see how Martin does. We've never had a man do a bad job at the dating game. So
It's true. Whereas I don't know if we've ever done a good job, to be honest.
We often find ourselves in the middle of the game being like, do I know what a date is? Do I know what a date is? So we will post links to the stream and the donation page on our socials as we approach the date, and we hope to see you there. Yeah. And I'll kick it to you, Ann.
Yeah, so I have a big thank you. You guys might remember I don't know how long ago, at least more than a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I bought a little best friend's tracksuit by accident in a fugue state, and then I was joking on the podcast that I just needed a little decal of my face to the best friends have to put on the tracksuit. And we got a little message from Travis on Twitter at AEW Women's Division blog being like, did I hear that somebody needs decals? I run a decal company. What kind of decals do you need? And I was like, oh, that's so nice, but please. And he was like, no, seriously, email me what you want. And
I pray to someday be able to hop in a moment like that. I heard somebody needs decals. I can provide decals. And they are beautiful decals.
They're beautiful.
They arrived in the mail today, so I had sent him just our logo because I don't have a caricature of my face, and he made a couple different versions of it that look amazing, and then he mocked up a Mommy's Little Ham award for us.
I'm so obsessed with it.
With the happiest little pig in the middle. It looks so good. I'm gonna mail it to Jacksonville every week to our designated winner.
And they
I kind of am I'm like, if we sent a Mommy's Little Ham decal to Daly's Place in Jacksonville, is there any chance we could get that through to somebody who needs it? To somebody who's earned it?
if we send it to Amanda Huber and we're like, please give this to, for example, Okada or Kylo Riley, I think she would do it, maybe.
Yeah.
It's true, but how many Mommy's Little Hams do we have?
So, there are 2 for each of us, a big one and a little one. So we have 6 total. No. 3 for each of us. 9 total.
Okay. If we send any of these to Jacksonville, we could send multiple, but Matt Jackson needs his ham. He's the number 1 ham. He's been the ham for the longest and the most times. I'm dance momming in a new way now, where I'm like, my child will win. He will have his moment in the sun.
Of course he will, and he'll get a big ham. But I also just think it's fascinating because now we've added stakes to it, where it's like, okay,
true.
I have 3 hams to award. Am I going to waste it, on Brian Cage?
That's true.
Probably not.
Well,
so maybe he'll get the award, but not the decal.
We actually, it's a next level. It's like, because we have how many total? Is it 3
9.
or we have 9?
We have 3 each, so 9 total. And I feel like I probably want to keep
one
myself.
ham.
Yeah,
I need
so
one ham.
6 for Jacksonville.
You guys kind of aren't rewarding the people that need it.
I'm rewarding.
I think I need it.
Yeah.
I think I've had a bad week and I need a ham. I don't think that's crazy to say. Okay, right. So we have, and Leah, you don't want one, so you think we have 7 to play with?
No, I'm saying I want to use mine as a tool to shape the world I live in, but
okay, then we have 7 to play with. That's all you had to say. You didn't have to say all that. I think we got it.
Didn't need to get all up on a high horse about it.
We have 7 hams that can go to wrestlers over time, and so that's always going to be a question now: were they the Mommy's Little Ham? Were they a decal worthy Mommy's Little Ham?
That's right. And we'll have to start keeping track too, so when they run out, it's just out. So this has to go for the next however many years.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I should have requested. I didn't even think of this. Because Travis is so nice. He refused to accept any payment for this, and I think I could have told him we'd like 1 million of them, and he would have just sent them. So
thank you so much, Travis.
Crazy. You're the nicest person on earth. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, but we want to keep. We're gonna want to meet these 7 hams out over, I'd say, at least the next 2 years.
Yeah, I think they got to last 2 years. But I think people are only going to achieve that level of like decal worthy, I think, about 7 times over 2 years. That seems
sounds about right. That math is mathing for me. We might really have to check in with ourselves about like what is it that makes a certain handmade performance so special and noteworthy. Now I'm starting to feel the stress, that those Oscars voters absolutely don't feel based on some of the quotes that I read from them every year, actually. So I think I might take this more seriously than some members of the Academy.
I do feel like maybe the wrestlers have heard about the Mommy's Little Ham Award, because I think we've had a lot of hams in the past month or two.
Oh, it's been Ham City.
A lot of hams.
Yeah,
it's been Ham City, and we'll let you know we are happy about it. Yeah. If we can contribute that to the world of wrestling, that's a good work in my book. Anne, is it a special week for you?
It's such a special week. I look forward to it. I don't look forward to it. But
nobody looks forward to it, but they do have to do it. They are forced to do it.
I do my duty every 3rd week.
I think you do look forward to it, because I always sense a certain exuberance when you come in to tell us what's making you happy. I sense that it made you happy to discover what was making you happy.
It did, actually. I've started keeping a notes app file on my phone of things that make me happy, and then I note them down. So I've got a little backlog. And then a few days before, I realized I realized on Tuesday it was my week, and I started being like, oh God, what's making me happy? And actually, it is sort of good for you to like look around at your life and be like, what's good around here? I guess you can find things if you try.
I read a little tweet where someone was like, I regret to announce that I've been doing 7 minutes of gratitude with my partner, and unfortunately it works. And then I was reading a number of takes about doing your 5 to 7 minutes of gratitude, and unfortunately everybody seems to agree that it works. Like, everybody is like, it really fundamentally makes a huge difference in your life.
Actually, one time back in the day on LiveJournal, my friends and I made like a jokey little bet where we were like, oh, who had the most annoying post on their friends list? So like of all the posts you read, which was the most annoying? And we made like a little contest, and we actually had to stop after 2 days because we were all in foul moods all the time, because all we were doing was looking for annoying things.
It's horrible to realize There are, of course, many things in life you don't have control over, and you can't fix your mind by thinking it should be good. But there are some ways in which you can control your mood and your mind. There are some ways in which you can impact it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's making you happy, Anne?
Yeah, so this week I was thinking about things, and I think I've decided in the last few months that I'm going to get into birds. So the Merlin Bird ID app, which I think was recommended in our group chat. I don't think it was either of you, but I think that's where I found out about it. But it's like the coolest app in the world. It's like Shazam for bird calls. Like you just hit listen, and then like it just, your phone starts listening for all the birds singing around you, and then it's like, oh, like robin, mourning dove, cardinal, and like shows you the pictures of them and everything. And if you've visually seen a bird, like the other day, I heard it tapping on my like living room window, and I was like, and the dog started growling. I was like, what the hell is that? And I went over, and this really beautiful, like yellow-bellied bird that I'd never seen in my life before was just like trying to get in my window, like tap, tap, tap. And I don't know, it was confused or what. It didn't seem to hurt itself, watching you. Though. Yeah, it was trying to get in. So, but if you go in the app, you can be like, I want to identify a bird. Like I saw a bird, I don't know what kind of bird it was. And then it starts asking you like a series of diagnostic questions, like around what size was it? Like, where did you see it? Was it like floating in a pond, or was it like, in the air or whatever? And like, what color was it? And then it like gives you a list of choices based on your location of what it probably is. And so I identified this beautiful yellow bird as a great crested flycatcher, like very quickly, and it was totally that bird. So this app is like, it's so fun. You'll get really into birds.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that.
That does sound fabulous.
Yeah, my brother's wife is really into birds, and I've been on like a number of walks with her, and my mom's really into plants. So she and my mom will just fall so far behind everybody else because they're checking out plants, they're checking out birds, they're sharing each other's birds and plants. And every time I like look back and see them, like in the distance, I'm like, wow, it's good to have a kind of a scavenger hunt you're doing literally all the time in the world. Like it really seems pretty fun. So I love that for you.
I started a little life list in the app. Like we got into a little bit of bird community wank the other day just reading about it, because there was this big scandal about the first person to see 10,000 birds.
Do you think you might see 10,000 birds?
I don't really see that for myself, especially because it turns out there's like 4 or 5 kind of birds that are the birds that are around my house, and that's kind of the end of the list. So, and I already kind of knew what they were. It's like a sparrow, a robin, a cardinal, a blue jay, mourning dove. That's about it.
Oh, you're really showing off your knowledge. You're kind of knowing a lot of bird names.
I know a lot of bird names, yeah. But now I've seen a great crested flycatcher, so I'm on my way to 10,000 birds. That's new. It's brand new.
There will always be new birds. If I had to guess, I think there's going to be some old faithfuls, but then there's always going to be a couple of new birds to shake things up.
Well, and I have been seeing some big like birds of prey like up high in the air, but they're not really close enough for me to identify them, because I'm just like, big bird high up. Like, what do you think it was? It could have been a hawk.
I can't believe it doesn't ask. Like,
I know.
What was it? Was it big bird? Was it high up?
It was a big bird and it was high. Does that narrow it down for you? I don't know what color it was. I just saw the underside. Looked kind of black against the sun. I don't know.
Well, I think that's a very good happiness, Anne. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sometimes when I do that, I feel like I'm in The Giver. Thank you. Thank you, Jonas, for your, what did they say? Thank you for whatever.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, they did.
Yeah. But theirs isn't really about happiness or joy. It's about...
They say it in their graduation ceremony, like, thank you, Jonas, for your childhood, I think they say.
God.
And
That's not even what I was saying. I think they say something at dinner, too. Like, every day they have to share a certain thing about their day, and then they say, like, thank you. Right. But I don't know what it is, and it's creepy. So, anyway, sometimes I say it, and I'm like, you sound creepy. Okay, and then we have one more item of business. Let me kick it to Leah.
So, our brothers at One Nation Radio have issued a request to all of the Social Suplex hosts based on the fact that last week or the week before,
I can't believe this happened.
Williams, huh?
I said I can't believe this happened. Keep going. I can't believe that you also know the name Trick Williams, but
well, we all do accidentally.
That's true.
We accidentally ended up spending a lot of our online time with people who watch a lot more wrestling than we do. And so now I just pick things up by accident.
Yeah. Approximate knowledge.
I know the name Chad Gable now.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing with that?
I know quite a bit about his contract. It's not an interest of mine. It just happened to me.
It just happened to me. I can't pick him out of a lineup.
No,
but I sure do.
not.
I know his status.
He sounds like he should be old-timey. Like, he doesn't sound like he should live in modernity.
Remember when we found out that Randy Orton is only like 40-something?
Yeah,
42 or something?
I don't like being reminded of that, honestly. No. That man should be 85, and in my mind, he is.
I think I thought he was Ricky Morton. Like,
you know what? I sometimes think he's Roy Orbison. That is explaining something for me. Okay, all right. Anyway, go back to you, Leah.
So Trick Williams invited Cody to the cookout, and some of our fellow white people on the wreshling internet embarrassed the shit out of themselves, including Brian Alvarez.
What did he say? He was just kind of like, I guess he's going to a cookout because the weather is good.
I guess Cody and Trick Williams are gonna go, have an outdoor meal.
That really troubled me because I was like, I think you have to work pretty hard, I would think, to not understand that reference. But
yeah.
Easy for Brian, I guess.
So James has requested that all of the white social suplex hosts, I believe as a check-in to make sure that we're not embarrassing, have to tell what we would bring if we were invited to a Black People's Cookout. And our answers are going to be graded on a future episode of One Nation Radio. Now,
I'm pretty alarmed we might get banned from the network if we do this wrong.
I'll say this to you. We are up against an Australian in Sam.
True. True.
A Brit, 2 Brits in Trish and Imp.
Yeah,
I think we've got to be killing it.
And I think Imp already told us, Brits don't eat outside because it's always raining. So they're hot.
It's a fail. That's an automatic fail. That's not going to work. That's not the kind of attitude you got to bring to this, Imp. We're eating outside.
So they'll get banned if anybody gets banned.
Yeah, I think, the rule is you don't have to outrun the bear. You just have to outrun everybody else.
That's true. The slowest member of your party. You have to outrun everyone,
Yeah, and listen, at the end of the day, please don't kick us off the network because we love it here and we love all of you, and we'll bring anything we're told. At the end of the day, we'll bring what we're told.
Yeah.
We're polite as hell. If we were invited to a cookout, we would ask our host what they wanted us to bring.
Yeah.
The first thing we'd say is, great, what can I bring? We're polite people. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't embarrass you. That said, I'm going to bring a cranberry chicken salad with extra nuts and stuff.
Why is that the funniest possible?
Like I said, I'm gonna throw fruit in something. I am white. Oh my God.
Beautiful answer.
Great work.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this because James said it on the Discord first. So I had been thinking about it, and I was like, well, I have a really good baked mac and cheese recipe, and I'm Southern, obviously you got to have a baked mac and cheese. But then when they were talking about it on the podcast, James and Rich were immediately like, well, obviously we're bringing mac and cheese, and I was like, well, I feel like I've won, but now I sound like I'm cheating. So I was like, back to the drawing board. But I don't know. I'd probably, it's summer, a peach cobbler, maybe.
Oh, that
sounds good. That sounds delicious.
Nice. Yeah. That's really nice.
I think that I will bring, I love to bake, and I am very good at baking, and I love to bake in the summer a little blueberry boy bait that I get from the Smitten Kitchen recipe, and it's delicious.
That sounded so white, too. That was little Smitten Kitchen. I mean, at least you didn't say New York Times section.
It is white, but it does taste good. And if it doesn't, I would just say I'm so sorry. I've tried, and I'm sorry. So,
just honored to be invited at all.
Yeah.
So hopefully we've done good, and James will enjoy our answers.
James, please give us a good grade.
Just give us a good grade. And again, just tell us if you want something else. We'll bring it.
Yeah, we'll bring whatever you want. We'll bring the paper plates. Anything. If you don't want us touching the food, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Ice, not a problem.
Oh my God, I'd love to bring ice.
I'd love to bring ice. I'm like,
I'd love to come carrying like 3 bags of like ice that's dripping and getting me all wet, and I won't care because I'm I'm supportive to the party.
I'd love to bring 3 bags of ice that are dripping and getting me all wet. Let's just sit with it for a second.
I just mean it would be inconvenient, but I wouldn't mind because I want to support James's party.
I don't know. I thought you sounded kind of into it. Like you were like.
It's like, okay, well, it's not a cookout for your fetish stuff.
Okay, have you noticed that on the Social Suplex Discord lately, they keep making Tunnel Talk into feet jokes?
I know. Anytime anything weird comes up, they're like, Tunnel Talk would love that. It's like, well, we're not indiscriminately into everything.
I don't know, but like, listen to the things that we've sounded horny about on this podcast. Like now it's the ice thing. Then Leah, in the past, it was the stretchy jeans, if you'll recall.
Okay. Well, I like to keep it interesting.
I forgot the stretchy jeans. I love that one. I love that one because it surprised Leah as much as anyone. It's just like, why did I say that? You know those jeans have a little stretch to them.
Okay, so I think most of all, we'll bring this energy to the cookout, if that's okay.
For better or worse, we'll be bringing this attitude.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, James. We love you. Should we talk about the wrestling? You wanna?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna get down to business?
Now that we've done 20 minutes.
We've done a cool 20. Well, hey, cut any of that. You know, who knows what we said in there. All right. The Acclaimed cut an in-ring promo on this week's Collision about not wanting to get fined. I didn't watch it. And they had, Allie. And they'd been fined and they didn't like it. And then Stooge, Brandon Cutler came out to fine them some more. And then Christopher Daniels came out to say that Tony said no more fines. He's rescinding the fines. And then he beat Brandon up with a clipboard, which I thought, I don't think the vice principal can do that. That seems wrong.
Anyone can beat up Brandon at any time. I think that's probably the rule. Brandon walked out there, and it was very I haven't seen Brandon in so long, and he looks more insane than ever. Although I was like, maybe he looks just the same, but I've sort of forgotten. But his beard is crazy, and he's changed his little sweatsuit into a vest in the same material, which is incredible.
He also has really worked on his walk, which somehow gives the appearance of him having way longer and too many limbs. He's just
he's got a real grasshopper body, but yeah, you're right. He really accentuated it.
It wiggles out there, you think?
Well, it's it's like if you had to use AI to generate
my God.
Slender Man. It would be Brandon Cutler.
My God.
That's distressing, and it does make me want to type into an AI, do an animation of Slenderman just to see what would happen. Except probably it would come out of the computer and destroy
it would
me.
get you. It would probably get you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess it's allowed. Brandon got beat up. Then on Dynamite, the Bucks fought the Acclaimed and lost, which I feel like it has been a minute since I watched the Bucks lose to a team where it's they shouldn't be able to beat you. It's kind of fun, takes you back.
Yeah. It was I'm watching the Acclaimed in a straight-up tag match, and they're winning over the Young Bucks. This is, old school reminiscent, fun times.
What is this? What is this feeling?
Yeah. I feel like it's 2020 again, and
what did you guys like about the presentation, the match, anything involved?
I think I kept saying last week, I was do you think that the Acclaimed are going to be able to lay out the match? Which was right. I was right that they weren't, and it was a really fun match, and there was a lot of cool.
They
I understand.
Have contributed.
I'm sure they. Know. I hope they sat under the learning tree. I hope they sat under the learning tree of Nick Jackson, and that they learned a little about laying out matches.
Yeah. It was so much fun. I got to look at Max Caster's body and face, which I like.
He has that nasty mustache. Of course, it's hot. It's hot and horny. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Yeah, and love the old school feel of it. And I'm sick of people on the internet getting mad at things before they happen because they're gonna be bad, and then they're actually good
fine.
At least normal.
Which of my beloved co-hosts? I think it might have been Leah. No, it was one of you, said something about Max Caster where you said he operates best in the space where he is kind of being a little wretch, but you keep thinking, I could fix him.
Yeah, that was me.
That's very true. Yeah.
And it really is like, yeah, I like when you're not saying anything really bad that I don't think you should say. And I like when you're not trolling on Twitter in a bad way. I like when you're just being a little rat on screen. You look so hot.
Looks so hot, yeah.
And I think
it was Rich said on Twitter that like it was a total like face move for Okada to cut off the rap. And I was a little bit like, yeah, kind of. I mean, it was really helpful for my continued enjoyance of Max Caster.
Yeah, and that was so funny too, because like for a second when his mic went out, I thought they were just like bleeping him, but then it like kept going, and I was
I thought it was audio issues because he didn't look like he'd noticed, and the camera cut to the Bucks, and I think Nick was like, "We can't hear you," and I thought it was like, I thought it was AEW typical audio issues, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's crazy timing."
Maybe they have set up the audio issues to trick us. It's been a long game.
They've been training us this whole time. Yes, exactly. Tony would love to hear that. He's like, yeah, run with that. Yeah. Definitely, it's all been on purpose for sure. What was I gonna say? Oh, Okada was so funny doing his little move where he's going like, I'm sorry, and then he just pulls his hand down like, bitch. And, he did absolutely earn the Mommy's Little Ham Award for the week. I don't think he gets a decal this week.
I think Kylo Riley beat him for the Mommy's Little Ham
Award
this
my
week.
God, you're right.
Okada would normally get it, but I think Kylo got in there.
I can't believe I deleted Kyle's faces from my mind just now.
Your boy.
I know. Kyle, please don't hold it against me. I'm having a really hard week. I just forgot but I loved your faces.
And Kyle was at a level where it was like almost, it might be decal where I don't know.
I think
the judges will have to discuss.
I wonder if sometimes, like, I would like to be able to watch the full run of a particular character arc and then come back and say, this was the decal-worthy week. This was when Kyle doing faces about Mark Briscoe hit its perfect peak.
Yeah.
We'll circle back on that.
We can only live once.
Well, but we can probably give decals at a future date about stuff that happened.
Yeah. In like 2 months, we can put a little reminder on there and be like, has Kylo... We can award it for his whole run. It can be like a lifetime achievement award for Little Ham.
That's so true. I like those. It's like, Leah, you're kind of saying like, in the moment of greatest happiness, you won't know that it's greatest happiness.
Yeah.
Only later will you know. But that's, well, that's deep.
We've really gotten into the nature of happiness today.
I think it's what people come here for, probably.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Thoughts on the Acclaimed winning and what this means for the next few weeks or months of our time with the Young Bucks?
I'm completely fine with this feud, but I all of a sudden had a moment where I was like, is this gonna is a rematch gonna be like their Forbidden Door thing, or is like a trios match somehow gonna be there? Like, what are we? I don't want that. Like, does Okada have a match for Forbidden Door?
Forbidden Door's in like 2 weeks though, so it's like there's no time to get some.
Does JB have a match?
Yeah, he's gonna be in the TNT ladder match.
Oh God,
thing.
right? Okay, yeah. I don't think Okada does.
I don't think Okada does.
So I wonder if there's gonna be like a trios match with Daddy Ass, and I'm like, I want the Bucks to fight a fun CMLL team.
Okada is in the AEW Continental Title Eliminator this Collision. What's that? What is that? Who's doing that?
What a great question.
Great question.
For different people.
What will they fight for? For the Continental, that's what goes with the Connie.
He has that belt.
Oh, he has it.
An eliminator is when you fight to get a shot, right?
Oh, and that's versus Ultimo Guerrero. So doesn't that seem like that's probably the Forbidden Door match?
Then that is probably the Forbidden Door.
Wow. Did you guys enjoy listening to us puzzle that out live time? She's like, woof, that was some hard math. 2 plus 2. Jesus Christ.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I just feel like the Bucks fighting the Acclaimed at Forbidden Door does seem crazy to me. And I say that as someone who enjoyed this, and I have no beef with them fighting the Acclaimed for reasons we've gotten into in the past. But I'd love to get like a new like hot pair of hunks from somewhere else, from some other promotion, and they fight our lovely little Young Bucks, our little baby Young Bucks.
There's still
an idea.
Maybe they're working out visas and stuff. Oh, and the Collision promo also, I just remembered, Brandon said that the Young Bucks have carried Collision on their back for the past year, which I thought was the funniest thing I've ever heard. It's like, that's beautiful comedy right there.
That's good. That's a little inside baseball. Okay, well, speaking of Collision, Christian Cage celebrated Father's Day on the show this week, both by declaring himself Tony Khan's dad. He did a little math of his own. I think, what did he say exactly? He was like, I'm the best hire you ever made, and I'm the king of the company or something, and therefore I'm your dad. That's about it. And he also says it's good that Buddy Wayne died because that's what allowed him to become Nick Wayne's father. So this was like a lot of dad-on-dad crime, which I appreciated.
Just while Nick Wayne and Shayna Wayne were standing right next to him, I've never ceased to be amazed by how wrestlers deal with grief.
I really enjoyed watching their faces and thinking, like, this is how they want him to be remembered.
Yeah,
right. You have to assume.
He also, at one point, was like, I didn't really lose to Swerve. Ooh, thunder. Sorry, there was a huge crack of lightning. I got very excited. He was like, I didn't really lose to Swerve. My shoulder was up, and the EVPs are in possession of the footage, which they'll show at some point or something. And I love the idea of the Bucks just like being in charge of all the footage that you need them to pretend to have, and they might roll it at any time. I love that.
Yeah, that's a great little thing to just always say, like, oh, the EVPs have the footage. It's like, what footage?
They
from
can roll
where?
the tape at any time.
They can roll the tape at any time. Don't worry, they're taking good care of that footage.
He did such a classic bit here too, where Nick Wayne gave him like a handwritten card, like a child would make, and then Luchasaurus gave him a beautiful painted picture, and he was like, "Oh, did you do this yourself?" And Luchasaurus was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "It's fine." And then he was like, "Nick, this is the best card anyone's ever made." It's just like, Christian, you're the perfect man. I think
it was so good because the crowd started chanting Luchasaurus, and he whipped around and was like, "Shut up! His name is Kill Switch."
To be completely honest, sometimes that is what it feels like to be the eldest child. Is you're often thinking like, don't you like my oil painting that I was so stressed about making for you because I never want to let you down? And they're like, we love your brother's free spirit.
We're all the older sister of some number of brothers, a different number.
Yeah. So I guess I can't speak for all of us. I can only speak for myself, but I feel it sometimes, ladies. I feel that pressure. Okay, also on Collision, Christian did make it clear that he, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne have set their sights on the Trios titles. This did become relevant during the main event where House of Black were fighting the Bang Bang Gang. House of Black won, but Buddy Matthews was injured and is out, and Christian was like, we'll be coming for the top of the division. The end. So that's pretty much it. Any thoughts on the old Trios division?
I got really confused because I think Christian interfered at some point in that match. Like, he did a run out of the House of
I unfortunately couldn't find that in any of the recaps. So
I saw it on the All Elite.
I saw it with my eyes.
The only reason I'm saying it is because it's very interesting for Christian to be going after the people who damaged his lover, Copeland. But I could be wrong.
Well, it's always fun when someone is attacking someone who has damaged their lover, and then they're like, but not for that reason, just for other very normal reasons, actually. And it has nothing to do with that man I don't care about, but it does.
I'm so sad Copeland broke his leg and we don't get to see him and Christian kiss for at least 6 months.
I know.
I think it's called edging, I think. And it's but it also might be called gooning. I don't know if that's the same thing. Or if I should say it.
It's unclear to me whether that's a funny gross word or a good word, gross word. But I am right. So according to the All Elite Wrestling recap, it says that like at the end after Malachi won, Christian showed up on stage or on the screen, and then he's the one who took out Buddy Matthews.
Oh, I guess I thought that Buddy Matthews, I guess that's what, okay, that does make sense. For some reason, I just thought that Buddy Matthews had been injured in the match, and Christian was like, seems like you're not even paying attention. Buddy Matthews can't fight anymore. Look what happened to him. But I guess it does make more sense that he did it. So that's great. I'm really sorry to everybody who's having to listen to me host this episode today.
No, we're all at the same level. The only reason I'm harping on this is that I just want Christian to be avenging, and I want that to be what's going to happen, but I don't know if it is.
Yeah,
that would be a weird
it'd be corny if he's like, yeah, if he and Coper, they're not friends, but he still doesn't want anyone to hurt.
Right. Like,
no one but me
I can hurt you, but nobody else can.
Horniest thing on earth.
Of course, that's what we all like, obviously. All right, shall we, let's move on to talk about Swerve and Ospreay, who had an in-ring promo sesh on Dynamite. They went back and forth for a while. Ospreay said that he's actually more than capable of being world champ because he has carried multiple titles at the same time before on multiple continents, and he's the best wrestler in the world. Swerve said, no, I'm the best wrestler in the world. And he got into a little thing where he was kind of being like, you know, in the past, you've actually cheated for some of your big victories. Are you planning to do that again? And are you planning to get Don Callis involved? And Ospreay was like, I actually don't even need Don Callis. I want to pause for 1 second to say that Ospreay was wearing his little backwards baseball cap, which was a perfect costuming touch, because he just came out with it on, and it immediately was like, "Baby, you are so unserious."
Yeah.
To your big promo off to say that you're the best wrestler in the world and that you can carry many titles on your back, a little backwards baseball cap. I don't think so.
How's freshman year going, buddy? Did you rush a frat?
I can actually take 10 classes and get all A's. I'm gonna make Dean's List. Okay. So Ospreay called out that this was going to be Swerve's first pay-per-view main event as a champ, and was kind of being like, that's a lot of pressure. You're probably feeling it. Maybe I'll kill you with my Tiger Driver. And Swerve, he must have said that Swerve said that he himself has no friends, which is funny.
Well, he said, like, oh yeah, you come out here, you've got all your friends, they're doing fun dances. It's like, Swerve, you literally walked out with Prince Nana doing a dance next to you.
It would have been really funny if somebody caught, like, when he said that, Nana just being like, oh.
Nana's just like, I know he loves me. It's okay. He likes to say he has no friends. It's a whole thing he's doing because he's really tough and bad now, but I know he loves me. So they did have a little back and forth then about what you have to sacrifice to be champ. Swerve was making the point that he's sacrificed almost everything to get to where he is. He's sacrificed the love of your family, the love of his family, and then he says you have to sacrifice your love of this sport, I think he said, which I was like, oh, that's a good, I really like that, to be like, you like being the best in the world, but it's actually not that fun, maybe.
Yeah.
And then he did mention Ospreay's wife and son, and Ospreay said, don't talk about my son, and then he left, and Swerve said, stop, what if I want to make it personal and talk about your son? You will lose your son. And then they did like some really intense kissing pose.
Such good kissing pose.
And with a little of that patented Danny Garcia nuzzle, actually. Ospreay did a little nuzzle in there, and when I see that nuzzle, that's what really sets my brain on fire. I like it.
Oh, Hornius is back on the menu.
I know, finally, my God, we've been in the wasteland.
Now, that is star-making behavior.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you should be at Wembley. I don't know.
No, if he keeps nuzzling people.
When I see things like that, I want to say, yeah, maybe he does get the big match.
I thought this promo was so good. Like, there were some lines that, like, were a little, like, dumb or whatever, but I thought the, like, vibe was a nice continuation of the last time where it's like Ospreay did look unserious compared to Swerve, even though like he was being intense and he did a good job. Like this isn't a criticism of him, but I thought Swerve looked like so confident and so like a champ, and he looked like a man, and Will Ospreay looked like a boy, you know?
And that felt like a purposeful presentation, which I think is what you're touching on, and also what I was touching on with the little backwards baseball cap is that it's like he's been set up to look like I can do anything because I'm just like so good at wrestling, and Swerve is being like it has less to do with that than you think.
And I thought that was underscored by the end where Ospreay was like, okay, well, like we're just gonna have a match. We're just gonna see who's the best in the ring. We're both gonna wrestle, and that's all it has to be. And for Swerve to be like, baby, it's not all it has to be. I'm going to make it personal, and we are both going to be like trying to murder each other. This is like, you are no longer just having dream matches. This is not a Bryan Danielson like respect match. Like this is serious shit. And I think that's like, I think it's good for both of them to have that, you know, for Swerve to be leading the feud, and for Ospreay to like have it be textual, that he's like, oh, like when we feud, you're gonna hurt my feelings and you're gonna say things I don't like.
It's like he's wearing his like I just hope both teams have fun t-shirt, and Swerve is like, they won't. One team is gonna have fun and one team is gonna get fucked up.
And Swerve being like, oh, it's like not fun, you know, it's like, oh, you're out here to have a good time, well, I'm gonna destroy your love of the sport, like that is getting in the way and stuff, like that's really like.
And that's honestly a great thing to put on the line that I feel like I haven't heard come up that much, at least before. Just that, like, that what we're doing is something that you love in and of itself, and something I can do to fuck with you is to be like, you're not going to love it anymore. I'm going to take something that you love, and I'm going to make it your job, your fucking job that you have to do. Or like your obsession or something, you know?
No, totally. And it's like my dad watches a lot of tennis, and we're a tennis family. But like, I remember him telling me one time, I think in maybe Andre Agassi's like memoir or something, it was like, oh yeah, I hate tennis. Like everybody hates tennis, like at the top of the sport and stuff. And it's like, that is bleak, but yeah, I bet you do. Basically, like, I was a tennis prodigy, so my parents sent me to like sleepaway tennis camp where I played tennis 14 hours a day when I was like 12 years old, and that's all I've been allowed to do ever since. And so I hate and resent it. It's like, wow.
And as a little side note, you can still go out and see challengers in theaters, I believe. So
excellent.
I thought it worked really well. I liked it a lot. We did have a little backstage segment afterwards where Greg Trent was really upset with Don Callis and was being like, he's betrayed the family. He's not allowed to do that, which I thought was really funny. Like, it's so funny for someone to have just gotten there and be like, these aren't the rules. He can't do that.
He had gotten there because he betrayed his family. And so he's like, hey, the leopard-eating face party attack bothered us.
He was also wearing glasses, and he looked really good.
Very cute, yeah.
He looked really cute, but I did keep thinking about that tweet of Chuck Taylor's where he was like, and soon Trent will drop his manifesto.
Oh my God, I missed Dustin a lot this week, to be honest. And Don Callis was like, I know Ospreay better than anybody. Like, it's fine. It's all going to be fine. And they all left except for Kyle Fletcher, who stood there looking indecisive. Like, oh, no, my sleepover buddy. What does this mean for me?
I always love everything's fine on Team Taz moment. I think I should be doing that all the time in factions.
Oh, my God. Everything is fine on Team Taz is kind of commentary right now, when you think about it.
A little bit, yeah. They were trying really hard to sound cheerful this week, but
I didn't like some things that I heard on commentary this week.
The tone was a little strained.
Wasn't what I prefer. Anyway, what were you going to say, Leah?
I hope that when Ospreay does officially break away from the Don Callis family, which I assume is happening soon, I hope he gets to keep Aussie Open. I hope Kyle gets to come with him.
He needs some friends. Unless he's going to be really beaten down and not have any friends. I don't think he's ready for that yet.
When's Mark Davis coming back? Does anyone know?
No. Someone just asked Kyle Fletcher about it in an interview, and he said that he didn't want to speak on it, but that like he's doing well and he looks forward to wrestling with him again. So He didn't want to speak for him. So it sounds like he's doing okay, but we don't really have any information. And then there was a picture in the reportage I was seeing. There was a picture of him, and I just thought, wow, what a body. What a body, just when you look at him.
Yeah.
For the gay girls.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump over to talk about the men's and women's Owen brackets, which were announced this week. We got 2 of the first round matches from these tournaments on Dynamite. The first was Chris versus Nyla. Chris won, and we had a promo from Willow following the match. And Willow is also in the Owen. And then the main event of Dynamite was Pac versus Claudio with Bryan Danielson on commentary, and Pac won. And Claudio looked really sweetly bewildered about it, to be honest.
And so did Bryan Danielson. They both look like,
what?
I don't, that's
Can't
not
be
right.
It was a little bit of like, on 30 Rock, when John Hamm is in the bubble. And then he just like looks so confused when he finally realizes that he's not good at stuff, and he just goes like, Liz, I don't like this. That's what Claudio looked like. So the women's bracket, we have Willow, Serena Deeb, Nyla and Chris, Deanna and Shida, and Mariah May and Saraya. And then in the men's, we have Claudio and Pac. Danielson versus Shingo Takagi, who doesn't go here. I didn't realize you could be in the Owen if you don't
surprising.
Go here.
Have we even really seen very much of him?
I've never met him that I know.
I don't think I have. Yeah, I was like, oh,
he was the one Swerve wanted to fight, but obviously they didn't do that. But I think Swerve named him as the new guy he most wanted to fight. So maybe it'll be a really good match.
I'm happy to meet him or to be told that I've met him before, but sometimes I am like, wow, exchange students can do anything here, apparently. I guess I thought they couldn't, but they can do anything they want.
We have no Canadians in the tournament, but...
yeah. And then we also have Ray Phoenix versus Jay White, and Jeff Jarrett versus a wild card, yet to be revealed. What are you guys interested in or excited about in the tournaments to come?
I think the women's bracket looks fantastic, and I'm really excited
really
for
fun.
it. Like, it's like all people that I like, and
not all.
Serena Deeb.
So, Leanne, that's not right.
It's mostly people that I like.
Okay.
And the people I don't are going to be eliminated in the first round. And the bracket's set up so you're going to have like a nice Chris Willow match on one side, and that's a great story. And you're going to have like Mariah Shida probably, which is like, that's fun. Haven't seen that.
Yeah.
People just aren't talking enough about how good the women's division has gotten. Like, comparatively. Like, just great stories that I'm
They keep
very
telling
into.
us stories. It's what we like.
Yeah. And then probably like Mariah will win and have a shot at Toni, so that's exciting.
I would love for that to be what happens. We're going to get into the Mariah Toni stuff a little more in the next section, but I do think it's like I hope that's what happens. It has been such a perfect build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's incredible.
And the Chris Nyla match last night was really
it was
good.
great.
The fact that Chris picked up Nyla and gave her a pile driver, I was like, stunned by it. I was like, okay, well, that took me out.
I love Nyla so much that Chris gets to be just like the muscle and just shows off her feats of strength, and everyone's like, she's a huge hunk and very strong. And it's just
yeah, it's great. That was really fun. And then what do you think we're going to have going on in the men's division?
Yeah, on the men's side, in contrast, I'm like, I guess this is fine. There's nobody I'm real excited about, and no matches I'm real excited about. So I'm just like, well,
I know.
It is what it is.
What do you think is going to happen with this wild card? Let's get real talk based on everything we've been reading on the internet, what we see with our eyes. What do you think is coming?
The speculation has shifted, and I believe Alvarez now is on this boat that the wild card is going to be Ospreay, because he's going to lose to Swerve at Forbidden Door, and then be the wild card, therefore earning a shot at Swerve again later in the year. So he won't be the...
I know.
I know.
I can't.
I feel like
We're not even going to get all our first round matches for the Owen before Forbidden Door. We're down 1. We only have 3 more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They might get them all in. If you play this Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the speculation is that Ospreay is going to be the wild card, but he's going to lose to Danielson in the end, and then Danielson's going to win the Owen and face Swerve, I think.
But will he be like that? So that match wouldn't be until after Forbidden Door, like where he's revealed as the wild card?
I guess not. Because I think...
They might reveal it early. I don't know. I feel like the speculation is like either Ospreay or Hangman or Ricochet potentially, and it's like, and people are like super fantasy booking all of those, which is fine. But I don't know.
I thought Ricochet was still with WWE.
He is, but like this week, I think it's like, I think it's like very, very soon. So it's a matter of like whether it's serious that he's thinking about leaving.
You know, it would be funny if the wild card was just like Evil Uno. He's Canadian. He's a crowd pleaser. Everybody likes him.
Yeah, good point. He popped one of the biggest Dynamite ratings of all time.
That's right.
So
he main
true.
evented. Yeah.
Come on.
So true.
Interesting. I don't want it to be Ospreay. Do you think they're taking that into account? That I don't think that it should be Ospreay?
Really, no one's taking my preferences into account when they fantasy book around this, because I have found the conversations fairly unpleasant all around. But
I think I've
we'll see
missed
what happens.
most of them somehow, so that's fun for me.
Yeah, it's fun for you. I think I need to log off, to be frank.
Okay, well, I guess we'll see what happens. It's kind of I've finally reached the point where I can't really think clearly about this, because when there's a wild card that's a man who's not named, I am just like, we have to have Hangman back, please. I'm drowning. I'm there with. Of course, I love Hangman, but I wouldn't call myself like a full-time Hangman girly. Now I am. We've got to get that man back. I need someone with that. With the intensity, with the eroticism. I need a man who, when he gets in the ring and he's talking, I don't dance mom Hangman. I sit back.
No.
I say, no hands, mom. You do anything you want. I trust you implicitly. You're going to tell me a sexy story. Anything you do, anything you do, I trust. Because I know that you're thinking about doing a really fun, sexy story for me. Please come back. I really need you.
And when I think about like a Swerve match at Wembley, like who of those potential opponents, people in here and potential wildcards would I enjoy in a main event? And it's really like pretty much only Hangman. So I want it to be Hangman. I don't feel like it is super likely, but please. But in the electric atmosphere of Wembley Stadium.
Come on, in the electric atmosphere of Wembley?
Yeah. Because it's like both Danielson and Ospreay are not going to give you a horny energy or like a good story particularly. So.
No, they aren't.
I think Danielson versus Swerve would fuck as a match. Like it would just be really, really good. It's just what makes me tired is thinking about like all of August. Like.
Yeah, it's a lot of time to fill. And I did think you were going to say, I think it would be a draw.
Ladies, they need to sell tickets.
They've only sold 40,000 tickets, guys.
And you know who's a proven ticket mover, unlike Ospreay? It's Mr. Hangman. That's what I've heard.
So true, Ann. So true. Okay, well, I guess we'll see what happens. To be clear, I don't want to just make this super, super clear. I'm not saying to Hangman, get your ass back to work like he's doing anything wrong. I'm just saying I need him for my health. But it's fine.
Hangman, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just damaging our health. But don't worry about it, buddy. Take all the time you need.
I'm just taking hits on the daily, Hangman, but it's okay. Well, I'm just saying, I think
obviously we're happy that he's spending time with his family, doing
when men are off TV. Do we complain about it? Yes. But are they allowed to be? Yes. If it's their choice, yes.
And sometimes we don't even complain about it because they're that giving. For instance, someone brought a I'm here for Sammy sign to Dynamite, and I was like, who's Sammy? I haven't thought about him in 6 months, a year.
I think I have thought about him more recently because I had a similar to Brian Cage, a revelation where I was like, oh, I guess He's kind of an original, so I guess he's kind of one of my guys now.
Actually, him being gone, he kind of has, wormed his way back. It's like, oh, I'd be happy to see him probably.
He really had to get off TV for a while for us. Yeah. And then we can go back to being a little mean to him, but kind of like he's our really annoying, pesky younger sibling. Oh, that guy. He gets away with everything around here. Okay, anything else about the Owen? No, time to move on to, we will get a little bit more into the Mariah, the Toni, and the Mina of it all. Okay, I'm not even going to get into the collision stuff because I don't think it's important. There were some promos from Toni and Mina. Mina did a promo, and then Toni did a promo that was like a direct copy, like, of the promo, which was really fun.
Yeah.
And then on Dynamite, Mariah hosted a contract signing for Toni and Mina's Forbidden Door match. So she was kind of playing peaceful mediator and saying, like, I love both of you, and regardless of what happens at Forbidden Door, I always will. But Mina cut her off and said, Mariah, shut up. Toni, in Stardom, you're a legend. In AEW, you became a star. But as champion, you got soft. You got weak. Everybody says, we want Mina. It's true. Nobody wants you. At Forbidden Door, I take your title and my girl. Wow. And that's what I like to hear. I would like to hear that kind of thing a lot more often than I do, to be honest.
Mina killed it at this. I was like, they should have been letting her talk a lot this whole time because
she knows what she's doing. And she got right to the meat of the matter.
Yeah.
Toni responded saying, raise your voice like that to her again and I'll slap you. That was also incredibly sexy.
Yeah.
To be honest, a lot of Interview with the Vampire vibes going on here. Okay?
Yeah. Highest praise you can
It's
bestow.
about lovers and exes. Really bitchy. Really mean.
Really.
She said, you don't want Toni Storm? Well, this buffet is wide open, so grab a bowl and line up.
Also, I forgot to say, I'm sure you took this from like the AEW recap, but it was an instance of censorship again because she actually said, you raise your voice like that to her and I'll slap the tits right off you.
Oh, she did. You're right. Oh my God, you're right. Oh, yeah, no, I took it.
It is AEW recaps.
It's so interesting. The things, I mean, that at least I guess makes more sense to take out than some of the stuff they do. But don't take anything out. Just
that's a beautiful line. That's a perfect line.
This is unethical journalism. Report what you heard. Okay.
Please, if you're putting it in quotes, you at least have to like put brackets and change it.
Tony's back there downing his fourth Red Bull doing the recaps, and then he just goes, "Oh, inappropriate. I'll just get rid of that." That was rude.
I'll clean it up.
Okay, they signed the contract, and then stood up, and Mina told Mariah, "You have to choose me or her." But then they were interrupted by Saraya, Harley Cameron, and Anna Jay, who kind of launched an attack that ended with Toni hip checking into a table, but Mina had saved Mariah, or Toni saved Mariah. Someone saved Mariah. Toni saved Mariah, but Mina whisked Mariah away to the top of the ramp, and she was clinging to Mina's leg. And it's like, your mother lover is dying in the ring. And I loved commentary said, I don't understand this.
She kept also like making these faces, like every once in a while she'd pick her head up and be like, "Oh, Toni, I should help you. But these boobs, I gotta press my face.
I'm just so comfortable here.
I know they would get so cold without me." I loved this. I loved this whole contract signing. I thought this was great.
It was perfect. It was one of the best contract signings I've seen. I mean, and we've seen some good ones, but
a lot of them.
When people know that sexual tension is what a contract signing should be all about, that's what I like.
Yeah. I agree. And to really put it out, to say, I will get my girl, but then she then gets so worked up that she can't even wait. And she's like, time to choose. Actually, choose now, because listen to what she just said. She said I can come eat a bowl out of her. So we've got to call a stop. We're going to call an audible on this one.
The stuff that they're getting away with saying, too, like, you do feel like it's all men in, like, positions of power, and they're like, I can't tell her not to say it. Like, that's not...
Which is honestly what I love. I love the idea that she's just looking at them placidly like, I dare you to tell me that I can't say it. And it's just like, I won't. I will let you.
Too frightened.
I think, was I correct? Do we think, so Saraya was involved because she's going to fight Mariah in the first round of the Owen. That's how she ended up here.
Right. Yeah. I was fairly perplexed in the moment. I was like,
I also was, yes.
And I think they wanted like a reason to do the trios because I think on Collision this week, next week on Dynamite. Next week on Dynamite, they're going to do Mina, Toni, and Mariah against the Outcasts.
Did I put that in here and then immediately forgot? That's amazing. Wow, good job, Allie.
It's so weird though when they put like enemies together on a tag team because they're doing that with Swerve and Ospreay too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I somehow completely missed where that happened actually, so that's on me.
I know that the fiction is so thin, but at the same time, I love when people who are tagging are not on the same page, and then they have like little bitch fights on the apron. I like it.
It's very fun.
I like it a lot.
It's simply nice to watch. Okay. Well, anything else that you want to say about our sexy lesbian love triangle? We'll say
they keep saying in those promo packages, like, she's like a big sister to me and like a mother to me. I was like, guys, what are you doing? Because you're textually in a lesbian love triangle.
Totally. But I actually did kind of love it because I was like, oh, this is so... Like, because Toni's doing her, like, old-fashioned gimmick, and I am just kind of like, this is so, like...
It's Hays
Cody. Like, this is, like, you know, watching Gaslight. Like, it's like... I think it sometimes, like, some people would say, like, this makes you a bad gay, but... I do kind of like sometimes where they don't come out and say, like, I love her sexually and romantically, where they're instead just saying crazy stuff where you're like, that's psychosexual. You should be talking about that with a therapist. Like, you two are doing sex, and you're like, she's like a sister to me. I think that's fun. It's messy. It's crazy. And it's kind of what I watch TV for. So
that is the thing.
Okay, like, with me.
Every once in a while, someone will be like a lot of people just don't understand this. In a bad way. But every once in a while, people are like, you know, I wish that they were allowed to, like, be truly spoken of as lovers and have everything explicitly stated. And I am sort of like, well, no. I kind of like it better when it's really messed up. And so, like, I am so, like, I'm like, it doesn't, nobody has to, you know, really come out and say it. Sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, no, I like it better if they're calling each other mommy and daughter while doing it.
I want it to be, like, pretty weird, to be honest.
That's true. And actually, it works better in AEW because there's so few to almost none, like, heterosexual storylines. Yeah. So,
and those often go kind of badly. I mean, we liked the beginning of Jeff Ruby, but then we got to a point, like, it didn't take too long to be like, okay, well, now we're doing a little too much of this. Yeah. We never liked Ty and Sammy.
No. Sammy did not set that one up for success with his behaviors.
You know who I did always love? I always loved Kip and Penelope. Because
they're
disgusting.
Evil. Why. Yeah.
Because they're bad.
I mean, they're disgusting in a fun way, whereas Sammy and Ty were disgusting in a...
Yeah. It wasn't for us. That's okay. Anyway, I personally am not mad about it, but of course I respect my fellow gays' opinions about it, and we can all want different things from our representation, and that's okay. So that was a little homily from me. Let's move on to talking about MJF and Roosh, who opened Dynamite this week. Manolo said there were a lot of fisticuffs and a lot of personality in this match. I did not see it because I was putting a baby to bed. I believe that MJF cheated, but it's really not clear from Manolo's description how. He just said he did what he does best. So I don't know what that meant.
Was this the one where he grabbed the ref? Or was that
maybe.
in the Acclaimed match? I feel like
I
should know
totally
this.
possible.
I think that he grabbed the ref and pulled him in close and then kicked Roosh in the balls, but backwards. And so the ref didn't see it happen. That's right.
Okay.
Unless this was in the Acclaimed match. Which somebody is yelling right now.
What we can say confidently is, to quote Manolo, that MJF was cutting corners with dirty tricks, but it wasn't enough to corral the bull. So make of that what you will. MJF won, and he didn't run out. We cut to a backstage video with Brian Cage, the Kingdom... the Gates of Agony, and Hechicero, and Brian Cage was like, the EVPs booked a match with Hechicero for you, MJF, for Forbidden Door. So have fun. Okay. Any thoughts on this? Any thoughts?
It was a good match. Like, MJF didn't talk, so it was, and he wrestled. So that was a fun,
it's good when
refreshing thing. I was like, oh yeah, he's a good wrestler. You don't see it that much, so you forget.
And I love Roosh. I'm so horny for Roosh, so I was just really happy to see him. And I thought this match like showed off. Like, sometimes in MJF matches, it's like it's the MJF show, but this one I really did think that like both of them were doing good wrestling.
And I have to say that Roosh does have, when Roosh gets in the ring, he is so Roosh every single time. Yeah. Like, it's like, he really just gets ya. Do you want to say what you like to say about Roosh or no? Do you not? Would you prefer not to? We can skip it. It's true, but we don't have to get into it. It can be our little secret. Okay.
I just think that he is a fertility god.
You're right. He just does always look like he's glowing in a certain way where it's like, wow, and that is the life of the earth in you. So powerful. People like to talk about it, like, you know, like motherhood, like it's so peaceful, but it's like there is a rage there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I see him, I think about how he holds his baby and it looks like he's holding a spear. And then even when he's wearing like a goofy Christmas sweater, he still looks like basically like a fertility god, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, you know, what can you say?
What can you say? It is, I mean, I just feel like he is like one of those, I can't get into this.
We pushed her to her limits. Okay. Thank you, Leah. I gotta look up what they say in The Giver, and then I'll start saying it on purpose, and that'll be weird. Like, thank you for your sharing or something. Okay, also on Dynamite, Daniel Garcia fought a jobber and won. What I think I understand, I had to piece this together, having missed Collision and also missed a lot of Dynamite because of the baby, and there's a lot going on. Hechicero and Gates of Agony fought Dalton Castle and the boys / the Outrunners on Collision and won. And then they were, quote, triple teaming Dalton Castle and the boys just to be mean afterwards. So Danny Garcia and Daddy Magic ran out to help for reasons I don't think any of us could produce. And then after Garcia's match on Dynamite against the Jobber, Gates of Agony came out to beat up Daddy Magic as retribution, and Brian Cage and Hechicero came out to beat up Garcia. But then MJF ran out to save him / to fight Hechicero because now they're going to fight at Forbidden Door, I guess. But then Hechicero was working his arm, which is injured or was injured, but you certainly shouldn't re-injure it. So Will Ospreay came out to save MJF. And then they were kind of backing up and they backed into each other and spun around and then had a little bit of a stare down. And then afterwards, backstage, Renee was like, what was that about? Will running out to save MJF. And Will was like, I couldn't give a crap about MJF. I was just trying to help Danny. And I didn't know they knew each other, to be honest.
I know. I feel like
I don't know if they called him Danny.
In interaction, it was just like Ospreay like watching Danny Garcia on the monitor. So like, apparently they have a deep connection though.
Yes.
When this clown car run out happened, I've like never been more, especially because I missed Collision. Like I've never been more baffled in my life. Like I was just like, who? What? Like, this is not okay.
There's a lot going on.
I think I just kept being like, now why do you think this is happening?
And it didn't help that, like, I looked up from, like, the too many group chats I'm watching with, and the Jobber, I was like, it's a man I don't recognize. Matt Menard's talking. I'm like, is this Rampage? What day is this? Where am I?
Oh, my God. I agree. This was a little rough. And, I'm not even saying that as a criticism of AEW. I'll take all the blame on this one. I just wasn't doing well. I think this was around a point in the show, too, where I had so many incidents going on. I was babysitting. That's what was happening. I'd had so many things going on that I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. And I had to come back and rewatch today. I will say Danny Garcia came out in the snackiest little outfit. He had his little crop tee, and that's a really fun t-shirt design. and his little panties and his little, like, I don't know, if they're like up to the shins, you know, his little kind of knee-high socks or something. And I thought, wow, he is such a sweet little snack.
Nice little snack.
You know, he had his little knee-high socks on from American Apparel.
It's the sluttiest work in the world when you're just wearing a t-shirt, panties, and knee-high socks. Yeah.
So American Apparel they were selling millions every year with
they
this.
Sure were. I can see them in my mind as
it wasn't appropriate, and they were a bad company, but you know, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
Any thoughts about this MJF Ospreay interaction?
I was like, this is fine. This seems like a decent feud for the two of them. Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, like, you gotta say this about MJF. He'll make you talk. Like, he'll make you get into stuff. Whether or not, you know, it's down a good direction is to be seen. But he'll get Ospreay to talk about something.
I think that MJF, they probably have some rich soil there because they both have, like, referenced, you know, like ways that they were ostracized or felt weird in their youth. So I feel like they could get back to, like, we have school age issues that we are taking out on each other. Because I could see MJF being like, you seem like you were a bully in high school, and Ospreay being like, actually, I fucking wasn't.
Yeah, right.
And they're both, like, pretty young and, like, sort of wrestling prodigies in different ways, I would say, too. So they've got that, and, you know, get some competitive stuff going there. MJF probably does feel threatened that he's in the company, you know. So
there might be some real heat there, you're saying.
You can get to some real heat, probably, yeah.
Okay. I don't mind it. Ospreay did a lot on this episode. He was really booked and busy. In a way where I, again, was a little overwhelmed and was just like, what should I focus on? And I'm going to be even more confused if he ends up being a wild card. So I pray to God that's not what happens.
He was in basically every segment, and yet Dave Meltzer wasn't happy.
I know.
What do you think about that?
What more can you ask for a Blorbo? That's what I'd like to know.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about our special. Oh, we haven't even gotten there. It's the next topic. Wow. I've let us run long. Well, it is what it's not even that long for us. Okay.
Yeah. I do feel like I like when storylines like interact and there's a lot going on, but I do feel like, does Ospreay have too many irons in the fire? Like, maybe, I don't know, but it's probably fine. We'll see where it goes. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, I have no strong feelings about it, so I'm going to withhold a take. No take today, baby.
Powerful.
We of course loved seeing Brian Cage. That's our child now. It's our little son. It's glad that he's on good terms with the EVPs.
We were watching last night with our friend Aaron, who hasn't watched in a long time, and Brian Cage came out, and we were like, "Oh my God, it's the love of my life, Brian Cage!" And what?
And like moments before that happened too, she had been like, "Oh, MJF, I'm so excited to see him." Right after we had said, "Oh, MJF, like, God, this is gonna be annoying." So she was very like, "What has happened in the last 2 months?" Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Sorry.
Not to brag, but yeah, sometimes we do get to watch with the elusive casual fan, and it is interesting when you realize how your opinions are shifting as the casual fans' opinions remain, pretty consistent.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to very special segment. Kyle O'Reilly. Well, this isn't the special segment. I guess this is just set up. Kyle O'Reilly fought Anthony Henry on Collision and won with Roderick Strong on commentary. And Roddy said on commentary that Kyle won because I was out here. Just my presence changes Kyle O'Reilly. And Nigel said, I think you may be the missing piece to the Kyle O'Reilly puzzle. Well, okay, first of all, Kyle has a lot of missing pieces. He has more missing pieces than pieces that are present. So let's start there.
And he's consumed the missing pieces of many other people, I think, too. So.
Yeah. Kyle is like a puzzle that's all missing pieces from other puzzles. You dump it out and you're like, none of this goes together. Okay, and then on Dynamite, Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Kyle, and Dante teamed up to fight Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Roddy, and Zack Sabre Jr. Kyle did what I've called here some of his best active listening to another great promo from Mark Briscoe about words of the day. The faces that this man made You were right.
Wild.
You were right to call me out for trying to give Okada an award, which he wins many weeks, but it's really hard to go up against Kyle in this mode.
Yeah. When Kyle's doing that, I mean, Kyle was really conveying, like, Mark Briscoe, love of my life. Like, never been more delighted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, that's his blurbo.
That is his blurbo, and it's his brand new blurbo, and he is obsessed.
Full rush. Yeah. Like, scrolling back in his tweets, like seeing what he said 3 years ago.
Kyle's like, I think Mark Briscoe should win at Wembley.
In the electric atmosphere.
You know who make line go up?
Business.
Mark Briscoe, baby.
Mark Briscoe should be fighting Swerve at Wembley.
Jack Perry did briefly interrupt this. I almost said tweet. He did briefly interrupt this promo just to look at Mark Briscoe and Dante, who are both in the ladder tournament with him, and Mark Briscoe. Then he left, and Mark Briscoe said, "Get your ass out of here, Jack Perry." And then he just worked himself up so much. And I do love this thing that he does in promos. Mark Briscoe, you're getting me. He worked himself up so much that he's just kind of like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I mean, he doesn't say that, but he just like jets out. And Kyle followed him saying, I will follow that man anywhere.
Which last week Kyle followed him out with this look on his face and said, I am so motivated right now. He's just like, Kyle, I'm loving what you're doing.
Very, very, very funny.
And then OC said about Jack Perry to Renee, said, who was that?
What is that?
That did kill me.
That's my little baby. The OC won the match itself, which was like a big 8-man party match, by finally pinning Roderick Strong. Thanks to some help from Kyle, Roddy was doing a running knee, name of move, at OC, and Kyle shoved him out of the way and took the knee, and then OC orange punched Roddy for the win. And then afterwards, OC was sitting there looking so confused. Like, you do what for me? You save me from running knee? And I thought, a little meanly, I hope Kyle betrays him. I hope Kyle really fucks him over. Because I don't know that it's like, I can have OC and Kyle being like best friends. I'm kind of like, that's not safe for you, Orange Cassidy.
No, it's not right.
Safe. But we'll see what happens. We also did have some Zack Sabre Jr. and OC stare downs and chest bumps during this match. And
this was quite horny little kissing pose. OC doesn't do a lot of horny kissing pose.
He really doesn't. He looked great. I liked the energy. Nobody agreed with me when I said this in our chat, but like, don't you think that there's something about the cut of Zack Sabre Jr.'s panties that is like such a dweeb alert? Like, you just see him and you're like, wow, you just wear those to the ring? You're like one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and you just come out in your like utility panties is what it looks like. You're like, I need these to do my intricate holds.
I think you are right. Like, no one really looks cool in panties, but his do look particularly...
Because they kind of look like they've been especially cut to accentuate nothing. He's like, I want it to be like, I don't have a butt and I don't have a dick. And that I basically have like, like a little Barbie hips. Then that's where my legs move out of. I love it. But, what can you say?
The things we
of course,
say
I love it.
Complimentary. I really should start keeping a list of the things we said to compliment people.
I'm sorry, Zack Sabre Jr. I really like you. I don't know that much about you, but, you show up and you and Orange Cassidy have history that I don't really have any access to. So I like that.
True.
If anyone wants to tell us about it, times they've fought before, they clearly know each other.
They fought last year at Forbidden Door in that trios match.
Oh, they did, but I thought they knew each other before that.
Yeah.
Well,
is this their first singles?
Oh, I don't know.
That information.
Yeah, I know. I'm like...
we don't have access to it.
Yeah, I'd love to know. All right.
We have seen a little backstage vlog of them from years ago where they rolled all over each other. So I'm interested.
We like that vlog. We think that's fun. I don't really understand how they know each other in a professional capacity beyond the time they rolled around on each other.
Yeah, some dry humping at what looked like a wrestling show backstage or possibly a con. Yeah, I don't know.
It could have been anywhere. I can't say that I've ever focused that much on their surroundings. All right. And then do you want to say anything really quickly about... Well, actually, you can either talk about Dante Martin and Lio Rush, or you can talk about Hook and Joe.
Dante
or you can talk about both.
Dante and Lio.
Dante and Lio? Okay. Oh. I don't think I really described this, but my understanding is that Lio Rush came back for Forbidden Door season because he's with NJPW now.
He's not signed to them.
Oh, he's not signed.
I think he's been over there.
But he did interact with Top Flight again. And do you want to speak to this, Leah?
Yeah, so he introduced himself to Darius Martin, and Darius said, "Yeah, I know who you are." And I just had like an absolute spasm of delight because it was just like the fact that like Lio Rush was the last time we saw him. He was doing crypto, and he was trying to like trade Dante for
Martin for Bitcoin. Yeah.
I don't know what was. I mean, we said multiple times that the deal seemed that he was getting sex trafficked, and we
absolutely. Actually, there was a long period where it seemed like that's what Dante wanted us to think. Right. We thought that he was doing really good acting about it.
And we still never understood what that storyline was supposed to be if that wasn't it. But I just love the idea of Lio sidling up to Dante's older brother to be like, "Hey, are you holding a grudge on that, or what's the deal?"
This is why we have our eternal characterization of Dante as just like kind of like apologetic and concerned and being like, I don't know, I think he like might have tried to like trade me for a Bitcoin, but that's not bad, is it? And then everyone around him is like, that's really bad. That's not what he should have done. Well, I'm excited. Do they have a little match coming up or something? I believe that he did ultimately run out and save Top Flight. So presumably they have made peace if they were in a fight before, which I'm not sure if they were or should have been.
Yeah. The vibe very much was that Darius wasn't amused by him, but wasn't outright like aggressive. And I would love to see Lio Rush come back and pretend that everything's fine and normal, and then immediately like really start to try to sell him.
Be insane again. Yeah, that would be great. I would love it I wish that someone had ever explained. I mean, who was going to explain? I don't know that there was an explanation, but what was the gimmick?
Right, because I think what we've learned in 3 years of wrestling is a lot of times we're like, how do you think the storyline like played out? And whoever we're talking to is like, oh, well, like they had this match, and you're like, no, but like, what do you think the emotion through line was? And they're like, well, it was a stipulation match, and you're like, okay. Put that aside.
Ignore the match.
Impressed that you guys retain this much about Lio Rush, because it's like as you're saying it, I'm like, oh right, but like it made so little sense that it just left my brain. I was like,
oh my god, I was obsessed with it.
I think it really is just because there was a period where someone who's been in our back catalog can correct us, but I think we were really excited about it because we were like, this is a very interesting Dante storyline they're doing. Like there's really something happening here. He's trying to find a mentor, but instead he keeps finding these men who are mistreating him in various ways, and he's really suffering. And he's feeling a lot of big emotions about it. And then one day it just stopped. And it was kind of like, were we supposed to take any of that from what we saw? Or can he just not do face acting?
And that's kind of wrestling in a nutshell.
Kind of wrestling, yeah.
One day it just stopped. And that's how they taught us not to get too invested in anything.
We used to really think we were tracking stuff. And now even pretty straight cut stuff, I feel like I come in here and I'm like, and that's what you were getting from that too, right? Like that seems to be what's happening. We all agree on that. Okay. Did I fail to bring up anything you really, really wanted to talk about this week?
No. Great job.
Thank you. I needed that today. Thank you.
You did a fantastic job.
Thank you, my friends. On that note, I have been Allie.
I've been Ann.
And I've been Leah.
This is Tunnel Talk. Our theme is by Chris Corkin. You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr, Tunnel Talk Pod, via email, tunneltalkpod@gmail.com. You can also find us on the Social Suplex Network feed, where you can check out some of the other great podcasts on the network. And you can find us on the Social Suplex Network Discord. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. For God's sake, stay frosty. And as always, please come back next week.